Yeah, we'll show you around the building. You get to have a good look around, and then the university are also going to do a bit of a showcase on some of their projects and activities in the different areas in the building. So just to introduce myself, my name's John McGlynn. I'm the Executive Manager of the Orkney Research and Innovation Campus. So that's a company that was set up as a joint venture between the Council and Hiles and Isles Enterprise to redevelop this building as well as the old Academy buildings, and there's about 3.75 acres in total of space in and around these buildings. Art doesn't control the car park, however, so you can pick that one up with the council. So yeah, really the purpose today is just to give you a look around. I know people are really curious to see what the building looks like from the inside as well as the outside. So yeah, we'll just have a wander through, see what's going on. If you have any questions, you could just ask. So I think without further ado, we'll just go into the lecture theatre and have a look. We had the launch of the Scottish Arctic Policy Framework about 3 weeks ago, so that was like a big event by the Scottish Government where it basically outlined their policy for the Arctic, and it was held here in Stromness and at Ireland. So just kind of an example of the type of thing that yeah, we have hosted. We look to see more of it happening here in the building.
Campaigns like the
any questions
really
at all?
important because they help to drive discussion.
Feel free.
To take my research
Right, we'll carry on.
that involves the microplastic contamination in the marine environment and present this to the general public in the form of beach cleaning.
Also as a reception area, so for any events that are in the lecture theatre or other space in the building, we can host a reception here, have cake and tea and all that sort of thing. So it's meant to kind of provide a holding area for the other spaces in the building. We are going to be installing an enterprise hub here, so that will basically be, we have a little sample of it there, but basically a digitally enabled hub making use of virtual reality and augmented reality technology. So basically it's headsets which are enabled to, or the idea being that people with concepts or other work that they're working on, they connect to other campuses, other businesses, or get access to expertise that's not actually locally available here in the island. So that hasn't been installed yet, but it will be in the coming weeks. So watch this space. And that's a facility that's available for people to book and to use if they have a relevant purpose. So. So it's been growing all the time, and yeah, it's kind of a success story. And actually, before the development of the campus is finished, we're full. Like the demand for space is pretty much, it's all been allocated before the work in the Charles Clouston building, the former old academy, has actually been completed. So on the one hand, it's extremely successful. It's a great story to be able to tell. But from my point of view, managing the campus, I would much rather, the last thing I want to say to people is that we're full. You know, there's no room. So it's about what, you know, demonstrating what we've done in this phase of the project, but also, you know, my role really is to figure out a strategy and find the funding to do the next phase of development, how we continue this story.
This is a fantastic teaching space we have here, courtesy of Oric. Really pleased to have this. You notice we call this the collaborative teaching space. So we've got tables along the side and screens, and it's a really good kind of workshop kind of area. What we're intended to do for this open day was just have a little bit of a flavour of some of the science that we do at ICIT at the moment. Actually, you're stuck with Tim and me. So Tim has some material relating largely to marine planning. My particular speciality relates to fisheries science, and particularly science in support of sustainable fisheries. So there's a couple of posters. We're not too completely barren here. We've got some slides showing. So Tim has some slides there. I have some slides showing there, and we'd be very happy to chat to you about those, probably on a more informal kind of basis. Tim.
Great, Mike, thanks. Yeah, I'll have to be careful. I'll go into full lecture mode. You'll be here for 2 hours, and you'll get a master's in marine planning. That's my area. I'm really interested in ocean governance, international law, what we can do in the seas, what we can't do in the seas. Now we're planning to do all these renewables and aquaculture. Fisheries, of course, are a traditional industry. But as all these new industries go into the sea, how do we fit everything in? And what are we allowed to do under international law? Because as I tell my students, our ideas of what we can do on land is so clear because we have full sovereignty and the government can tell each one of us how we should behave. And if we don't behave like that, we go to prison or we're fined or something nasty happens to us. But once we step over the tide line on the beach, we're in a completely different legal regime. We're subject now to international law, and even in the territorial sea, our sovereignty has started to be eroded. So the power of the government to say exactly what happens starts to diminish. And within the territorial sea, we have to allow what's called innocent passage. So any foreign boat can sail through our territorial sea, and if it's on innocent passage, we can't stop it. And then we go out into our exclusive economic zone for 200 miles, and then we go out into the high seas. And by the time we got to the high seas, we have no jurisdiction and no sovereignty. So how we manage that? We manage that by international agreement. We make treaties. We agree with all the other countries, this is the way we're going to behave. And it's cooperation, it is compromise, and it's agreement. And all of a sudden, in 2019, 2020, we're not very good at that. We've got countries that are saying, we're fed up with this treaty, we're going to pull out of it. And that's dangerous for us. The Antarctic Treaty System, absolutely an amazing system for Antarctica, which would be great if it could be replicated in the Arctic, but it won't be. But come back later on and we'll have a chat if you're interested. And why won't it be?
Yeah.
Because we have something called the Law of the Sea Convention, passed in 1982, and those 5 countries own all the resources in the Arctic Ocean. The United States, Russia, Norway, Denmark, and Canada. And they have their rights under international law. Whereas Antarctica, that doesn't exist. It's entirely managed under the Antarctica Treaty System. So it's, anyway, that's my interest. I love it. It's very political.
Yes.
It's very much about international relations, how people work with each other, how we can do it. I think it's great fun.
We'll also have a further space that's opening in about 4 weeks' time in the former Old Academy building, which we'll have a separate open day for that. But basically, it's a similar kind of collaborative working space with a large audiovisual wall. So for presentations, we get a lot of groups here from all over the world. So it's kind of a holding pen, for want of a better word, for basically get them in, tell them about what we do, and yeah, educate them before taking them out to other parts of the Isles to show them actual projects.
back to the